My landlord installed cameras in the hallway to spy on tenants. I moved into my apartment about a year ago. It wasn't fancy, but it was affordable, clean, and in a decent neighborhood. The kind of place you take because it's practical, not because you're in love with it. The landlord, Mr. Harris, was an older guy, quiet, polite, professional. The kind of landlord you barely see, which is usually a blessing. At least, it was at first. For the first 6 months, everything was normal. I paid rent on time, kept to myself, and barely interacted with anyone. But one night, I walked out of my unit to take the garbage down, and that's when I noticed it: a small, black dome camera in the ceiling corner of the hallway. It hadn't been there before. At first, I assumed it was for security. Our building wasn't unsafe, but people occasionally let strangers in, and packages sometimes disappeared. Maybe he was trying to fix that. But the next morning, I walked past the laundry room and spotted another camera, this one positioned right above the entrance, aimed directly at the door. That made me pause. Why would he need that? Still, I brushed it off. Technology's everywhere now. Cameras aren't unusual. But over the next few weeks, more started appearing. One above the mailboxes, one at each end of the hall, one pointing straight down at the stairwell landing. It felt less like security and more like surveillance. What pushed me over the edge was the noise. Sometimes when I opened my door, I heard a faint mechanical whir, like something adjusting. I looked up once and I swear the tiny red indicator on the hallway camera changed as if it switched angles. I told myself I was imagining it. I didn't want to be the paranoid neighbor. But then my friend visited and said, "Dude, why is there a camera basically facing your front door?" That's when I finally emailed the landlord and asked, "Hey, just checking. Are the new cameras recording audio? And what prompted the installation?" The reply came 10 minutes later: building security upgrades. Nothing for tenants to worry about. That answer didn't sit straight. No explanation, no notice, no follow up. And the cameras kept multiplying. One day, while leaving for work, I saw Mr. Harris in the hallway. The moment he noticed me, he stepped away from a panel on the wall that I realized was a DVR system hooked into all the camera feeds. He quickly shut the cabinet door like he wasn't supposed to be messing with it. "Morning," he said awkwardly. "Just maintenance." Maintenance? On a Saturday morning? In a locked electrical cabinet? Every instinct in me told me something was off, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Then one night, around 11:30 p.m., I stepped into the hallway to grab a package I forgot downstairs, and that's when I heard Mr. Harris again, talking, softly. I froze at the bottom of the stairs. The door to the electrical cabinet was slightly open, and I could see the glow of multiple screens. He was staring at the live feeds, zooming in on them. I heard him muttering something like, "There you go. What are you going to do now?" My stomach dropped. That confirmed everything. This wasn't security. This was obsession. The next day, I talked to my neighbor, Sasha, a woman in her mid 20s who lived across the hall. She looked exhausted, dark circles, frustrated expression. When I mentioned the cameras, she sighed heavily. "You noticed that too, huh?" she said. "He's been watching us." I asked what she meant. She told me that 2 days earlier, she had received an email from him accusing her of having multiple guests late at night and disturbing the peace. Except she hadn't had anyone over in weeks. The only way he could have thought otherwise is if he was watching the hallway and misinterpreting her movements. Another neighbor chimed in later. An older guy from the second floor. He said he caught Harris watching the camera feed during a surprise inspection of the boiler room. He thought it was weird, but didn't think much of it. But now it was adding up. The cameras weren't for safety, they were for monitoring our personal routines: coming and going, guests, late night movements, who talked to who, everything. I didn't want to jump to accusing him of anything sinister, but the behavior was undeniably invasive. So I started documenting dates, times, where the cameras were pointed, what the neighbors said, any strange noises, every interaction with Harris. I didn't plan to confront him yet. I just wanted evidence. But something happened that forced my hand sooner. One night, around 9 p.m., I placed a delivery bag outside my door for a friend to pick up. I didn't think much of it, but 10 minutes later, I got an email from the landlord. Please do not leave personal belongings in the hallway. I saw you leave the bag just now. The message was timestamped 6 minutes after I set it down, which means he watched it live and felt entitled to message me about it. That was my breaking point. The next morning, I contacted the tenant association in our city and asked if hallway surveillance is allowed. They told me that security cameras are allowed, but landlords cannot monitor tenants' private routines. They must disclose all camera locations, and audio recording is illegal without notice. We had no disclosure, no signage, no notice, and no boundaries. The association asked for proof. I had plenty. They advised me to file a formal complaint which would trigger an investigation. I did. 2 weeks later, an inspector came unannounced. Harris tried to stop him, but legally he couldn't. The inspector saw the number of cameras, the angles, the DVR cabinet, the fact that several cameras have had active audio channels enabled, and Harris watching them from the cabinet when he thought no one was looking. The inspector didn't act hostile, but you could feel the tension. 3 days later, every tenant received a letter. Effective immediately, all hallway cameras will be removed as per municipal directive. Surveillance was found to exceed acceptable privacy guidelines. No apology, no explanation, just removed. A month later, we received a second letter. This property will be transferring to new management in the coming weeks. Translation: he was forced out. We later found out through a neighbor that Harris was given a choice: sell the building voluntarily or face legal action for privacy violations. He chose to sell. The day he left, I saw him carrying boxes to his car. He avoided eye contact with everyone, and for the first time in months, the hallways felt like hallways, not a monitored tunnel where someone's eyes were always somewhere above you. Sometimes people reveal who they are when they think no one is watching, and sometimes they forget we're watching too.